We keep allowing this to grow. The machines are gonna win. I'm gonna be the first to say it.
My niggas forever been poor, competitive for the bread in the land where the only good president is a dead one. And the only real protection is a handgun. Lick a shot for the dead homies on that red rum. Yeah. And the rich get richer, and we get whatever the rich get sicker. And each year we dig in the ditch, get bigger. You eat shit.
Hey everybody, this is Ryan with Conspiratorial Conspiring, and this is going to be my first episode. After a ton of deliberation, and I've been talking about doing this for months, and I know it drives some of my friends and my girlfriend crazy, because, you know, I talk about, like, oh, I want to do a conspiracy podcast, I'm all about conspiracies, and then, you know, I just keep talking about it, been talking about it for months, and now I'm finally doing it. So, you know, for my birthday, or for Christmas, my girlfriend got me a really nice camera, which, you know, this isn't going to be a video episode, this is just going to be audio, but while I figure out the whole camera situation, because it's a really nice camera, so I've got to figure out how to use it. I'm not super tech savvy, so I got to get that whole thing set up. But yeah, so like a little bit about me, I've really gotten into conspiracy topics maybe a year and a half ago, and I know that there's a lot of dudes out there, or a lot of people in general that, you know, are OGs in the conspiracy realm, you know, the Jason Bermases of the world, and, you know, Sam Tripoli, you know, all those guys, you know, they're OGs in this game. There's plenty of people that have been talking about this shit for decades. And so I realized, like, oh, well, you've been a part of this community and listening to these kinds of topics for a year and a half, and now you feel like you can have your own podcast, you motherfucker? And it's like, yeah, I do, because I drive a truck for FedEx, and I listen to hours and hours and hours of this shit all day. And it's not just, I don't listen to just conspiracy shit. I listen to, you know, mainstream, well, and we all know that the mainstream shit sucks, but I mean, I listen to it just so I know what they're saying, and I don't listen to people from one side of the political landscape. I listen to all of it. I listen to the far left, I listen to the far right, I listen to the guys in the middle, the guys who are just a little left, the guys who are just a little right. I listen to all of it, because I want to know every single argument from every single way. And that's one thing a lot of people might not like about this show, is that I'm going to be presenting a lot of ideas from both sides, because I don't have a side. And I think if you have a side, you've pigeonholed yourself into a terrible way of looking at the world. We shouldn't have sides. We should just, if there's a good argument for something, if something can be reasoned well, then that's a position that you should hold. But to just say, oh, I'm a Republican, it's like, all right, well, there's a lot of bullshit things that the Republicans believe in that's total dog shit, and then to call yourself a Democrat is also retarded, because they believe in a lot of dog shit. So to just lump yourself in with either of those groups, or even other groups, you know, oh, I'm a conservative, like, oh, are you, every single aspect of you aligns with conservative ideology? So it's just, I feel it's stupid to label yourself and to be on either side of the political aisle. And I'm gonna be shitting on everybody. I'm gonna talk shit about Trump. I'm gonna talk shit about Hillary. I'll talk shit about Democrats, Republicans, people in the middle. If you're stupid, I'm talking shit, and that's the way it's gonna be. So yeah, I've been able to listen to hours and hours, thousands of hours of podcasts about these topics, and then I just got enthralled in this community, really starting out with tinfoil hat, because I would listen to Joe Rogan, and I can see the collective eyes rolling, like, oh, here we go, fucking Rogan guy. But it's like, come on. We were all there, I feel like, at one point. So I listened to Joe Rogan, and then, you know, Eddie Bravo would come on, and he'd start talking about flat Earth. And, you know, like, we all thought it was funny. We all have a good laugh at Eddie and, like, oh, crazy fucking Eddie with his flat earth shit. And it's like, well, but he would, like, venture off into, like, other topics. Or he'd talk about, you know, political things where people, yeah, I don't know, just politicians being fucking politicians, doing shady shit, underhanded fucking deals, backroom deals, all this shit. And it was just interesting. So Eddie Bravo would talk about that shit. And it's like, well, I want to hear more about this. Like, this sounds really, really interesting. And, you know, I've dabbled with, like, 9/11 shit before. You know, I've watched 9/11 documentaries, and I remember hearing, or, like, I remember people thought that the Sandy Hook shooting didn't happen. I'm like, what is that all about? And, you know, so I've always been kind of, like, interested in these kinds of things. So when Eddie would talk about this shit, it was just like, like, I wonder, like, if there's any other podcasts. I feel like I'm saying like a lot, but this is the first episode. It's going to be all over the place. You know, I'll really button it down and I'll nail it down. And I have a ton of books. I've listened to a ton of podcasts. I'm really going to put out some quality episodes because I've listened to other podcasts where it's just total dog shit. And they're all over the place and they exclude a lot of shit from the episode. I'm just like, how did you not know about this? I'm like, you researched this for 2 weeks and then you put out an episode and you didn't even mention one of the biggest factors about this whole fucking idea that you're expressing right now. I've been so upset at shit like that. So I really want to do a good job. And I don't want people to, like, listen and be like, oh, man, this guy's fucking, he's only doing one side of the story. Like, how does he not know about this? So I really want to button it down, nail it down, and express ideas from all over the landscape about different conspiracies or government things. And so it's not just going to be a podcast. It's going to be a lot of different things. It's going to be number one, podcast. I want to try and get out a podcast like every 2 weeks. And, you know, I work and, you know, I go to the gym and all these other things. So I'm going to try and put in like a couple hours of research every night because I really want to make this something. And I want to put out a good product. And I mean, dude, I love talking about this shit, but not a lot of people in my life like hearing about it or want to engage in a conversation about it. I mean, some people do, but I just want to enter that community with my voice, and then people can hit me back with their comments and, you know, stuff like that. Maybe like in the future, I could dabble with like a call-in kind of deal. People call in, we shoot the shit. They give me their ideas. I, you know, debate. And I really, with this platform, I want to preach like more love in the community, dude. We need to be together. There's so much bullshit with like, oh, is the earth flat? You know, the flat earthers are just fucking like hurling grenades at people who like believe it's round, and like at the end of the day, man, yeah, maybe it's flat, maybe it's round. Like, we don't really know. I mean, the flat earthers like, well, there's a good argument. So it's like, yeah, no, there's some good arguments. I'll concede that. But we just need to all come together, dude. We can't keep eating our own. And sometimes, yeah, people need to be called out because there are fucking shills and LARPers and all that shit in the conspiracy community, and they need to be called out. But we can't eat our own when we struggle on the minutia. Like 9/11, dude. We know that the government set that shit up, and that it was the U.S. government working with Saudi and Israel, you know, the dancing Israelis, all that shit. We know that they took down the towers. We know it was an inside job. We know all of that. But then we struggle, you know, were the planes holograms? were there directed energy weapons at the towers? You know, that woman, I think her name's Julie Wood, but I could be wrong. she wrote a book about how it was like directed energy weapons at the towers, because there's these massive 110 foot or 110 story buildings, and then they collapse into themselves, and there's barely any rubble from these massive fucking buildings. So yeah, like I'm trying to say, we just get caught up in the minutia, and we just start eating our own. And it's like, no, the planes were holograms. It's like, no, there were real planes. Or, a big one. Was it a missile that flew into the Pentagon, or was it a plane? And people, they argue back and forth and this and that. It's like, dude, we can agree to disagree. We agree that it's an inside job. We agree that some fuckery was afoot. But we get lost in the details. Was it a plane? Was it a missile? Was it a hologram plane? Was it a real plane? Like all these other things. And it is important to establish hard details so you can make a solid case. But a lot of the times, like I said, like I'm meandering in this conversation right now. But the fact remains, we need to all stick together, or else we're never going to accomplish anything if we're just attacking and shit slaining the entire time. So I just want more positivity, and I'm willing to call people out. I'm willing to call them out on bad ideas or whatever that is, but let's not do it from a place of maliciousness or malintent. I feel like there's a fucking mouse crawling around or something. I keep fucking hearing it. But yeah. So fuck. Sorry, had to see what was fumbling around over there. But back to what I was talking about. Yeah, man, we need more consolidation in the community, and I feel like there's not a lot of channels that talk with passion, and I'm a very passionate person. When I get fucking going, I'm animated and I'm all over the place, and my face gets red, and I just start going off on a fucking tangent because I'm passionate about these issues, and I want to make legitimate change. And it's like, all right, dude, who are you? Who are you? You're gonna change. You're gonna change the world. You're gonna do all these things. It's like, dude, hopefully. I mean, I feel I've been getting more and more pessimistic with this community, because when you first get into it, you think everybody's going to be into it. Oh my God, if they just knew, they would be as into it as I am. And that's not the case at all. Dude, you start talking about these topics with other people, and they get pissed. They get mad. The other day, me and my buddy are at the bar, and, we start shooting the shit with these guys sitting right next to us. And, one way or another, it starts venturing into, political discussion. And I was saying, I used to be a libertarian, but now I'm getting pretty sympathetic with the anarchist movement, because government's inherently tyrannical. So I'm just like, yeah, I have a pretty sympathetic viewpoint towards anarchism. And he's like, oh, you're not an anarchist. I'm like, what do you mean? Why am I not an anarchist? And he's like, oh, well, you're not out there fighting government officials or all this other shit. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Fighting government officials? That shit is just so stupid, what he was trying to say. I said I was sympathetic towards the movement. I have a sympathetic viewpoint towards the movement. I don't know too much about it. But, from what I know preliminarily, if that's even a word, but from what I know from, just sticking my toe in for the past, couple of weeks to a month, it it makes a lot of sense to me, and I'm very sympathetic towards it. And then, he keeps on getting nastier, and what are you, a conspiracy theorist? I'm like, yes I am. A conspiracy realist. And it's like, oh yeah, you probably believe, like, fucking 9/11 didn't have, or 9/11 was an inside job, and kids didn't die at Sandy Hook. I'm like, yeah, kids didn't die at Sandy Hook. And then it just went off the rails, and he stands up out of his seat and was just accosting me left and right, calling me an idiot. He knows everything that he needs to know about me as a person, that I'm perpetuating bullshit, lies, and I'm destroying these families. These families lost children, and never once, I'm just like, hey man, calm down. Can we have a conversation? And I try to be as calm as I could be about it, and he was just going and going and going and accosting and calling me fucking retarded and all these other things. And I apologize if people don't like that word, but freedom of speech, goddammit. So, he's going on, and that's not just one instance. That's everybody. Everybody. Most people are like that. Most people get pissed. Most people want to fight you. If for saying 9/11 didn't happen, Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself, kids didn't die at Sandy Hook, all these other things. I mean, just go off on Sandy Hook a little bit. Why the fuck was the school like decommissioned for like 2 years before the shooting? 2 years. Another thing, they left the bodies of the kids in the school overnight after the shooting happened. What the fuck is that all about? And then Wolfgang Halbig, who was like a school safety director, he noticed that the helicopters that are supposed to be called in these kinds of situations to airlift children and bring them to, the nearest best hospital, they were never called, those helicopters. And they were like, yeah, Mr. Halbig, we were very disappointed. Even they were like, what the hell? It doesn't make any sense. Why weren't those helicopters immediately called? Why weren't those kids brought to a hospital? They were all pronounced dead at the scene. Oh, yep, nothing to see here. They're all dead. What if one of them was still alive, bleeding out? They could have been brought to a hospital by these helicopters. But they were never called. It makes no fucking sense. And there's a lot more. There's a ton there. Those are just like some of the overarching things. Start getting into the minutia of the details. It's fucking unbelievable. And that's the difference between people who look into these things and people who don't. Is that, the difference between me and that guy is that I researched it and he didn't. He just spoon-fed the bullshit propaganda that's on the fucking news, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, and we all know that in the 1970s, like 7 out of 10 people didn't believe in the official narrative for the JFK speech, and so the JFK assassination, and then fucking Project Mockingbird, the CIA rolls out the term conspiracy theorist, it was a pejorative. People were being slandered. Fucking, I don't think Lee Harvey Oswald killed JFK. What are you, a conspiracy theorist? No, I swear. And then over time, people are just like, they didn't want to be labeled a conspiracy theorist, so then they just stuck their heads in the sand, and then they just believed in whatever bullshit was being spread on any of the big news channels. And Walter Cronkite, who most people like revere him, like, oh, Walter Cronkite, good old Walter Cronkite, when we had an official narrative. It's like, then it was the easiest. Well, the CIA would give fucking Walter Cronkite the script and be like, here, push this bullshit propaganda tonight, Walter. And then he would, and everybody believed him. The Gulf of Tonkin? That was fucking all over the place to get us to go into the Vietnam War, and then they admit it never fucking happened. They admit the Gulf of Tonkin never happened, which got us into the Vietnam War. Operation Northwoods, all that shit. And so, in the 1970s, they roll out the term conspiracy theorist. Project Mockingbird, they take over all the major mainstream news, and even like affiliates, like Fox affiliates and shit like that. Like I'm if you haven't seen the video, go fucking use DuckDuckGo. Google and YouTube are complete bullshit now. I mean, if you ever search anything on either of those platforms, all you get is Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, all the mainstream bullshit. You'll never get anything good. If you type in Jeffrey Epstein on Google, you'll never see Whitney Webb's amazing reporting on Mint Press News. You'll just get straight up propaganda from CNN and everything in that ilk. It's unbelievable. So, yeah, man, we know the CIA is writing the news, is writing the propaganda for the news. I mean, there was I think it's a documentable fact that there's a division of the CIA with 200 different CIA agents who are writing the news every single day. Now, I'm not sure that's like speculation, but I'm pretty sure that's documentable and real. I'll have to go deeper into that. Anyway, we know Project Mockingbird's real. We know the CIA is writing news stories. And yet, people still just swallow it fucking whole. Everything is just believed and not questioned. And this whole fucking thing with Iran now. Oh, yeah, Soleimani was a horrible fucking terrorist and he killed hundreds of Americans. That's bullshit. That was an original lie that the fucking Bush administration was propagating, and no one believed it then, but now people are believing it. And so Trump just he picked up where Bush left off. I mean, and this was exposed by Robbie Martin on Media Roots Radio. He really did a fantastic job, or he was reading an article, so whatever article that was, really did a fantastic job of breaking that down. Because you see that it was propaganda they were trying to push back in the early 2000s with Bush. And then Trump just picked up that torch and ran with it. Who even knows if Soleimani's even dead? I mean, these guys, like Jeffrey Epstein, I'm trying to figure out what's going on with that story. I've listened to every podcast about that son of a bitch. I've been following all of the updates like a fucking hawk, and I'm trying to figure out what they're going for here. Like, what are they going for with this story? Because, they made a meme out of it. You don't see memes about Project Mockingbird or Operation Paperclip. Or, all these super important operations carried out by the CIA, the FBI, and the other intelligence agencies. You don't see people talking about that en masse, but yet Jeffrey Epstein is being, his face is all over the place with memes and saying Epstein didn't kill himself. Now, I bought a sweater that says Epstein didn't kill himself, and it's a Christmas sweater, and it was fucking hilarious at my family Christmas party. But what are they going for with the Epstein didn't kill himself shit? I really want to know. And I'm trying to figure it out, and I think he may not be dead. Maybe they're misleading us with Epstein didn't kill himself, inferring that someone killed him when all along he's not dead at all. I don't know. But what do we know about Jeffrey Epstein? Jeffrey Epstein was fucking CIA, Mossad. He had a Saudi Arabian passport in like the 80s. He was hired by Bill Barr's dad. I think his name is Donald Barr at some fucking school for children. And Donald Barr used to write fucking fantasy fiction about like space pirates that were pedophiles, and you can't make this shit up. It's unbelievable. Like, this guy who was like the head guy at a school for children used to write fucking fantasy fiction about pirates raping kids. Like, what the fuck? And then he hires Jeffrey Epstein, who goes on to become like one of the most prolific pedophiles to date. I mean, and then of course the royal family's fucking neck deep in this shit. Prince Andrew was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, he was at his house like fucking 16 times or some shit like that. And then we all know about Bill Clinton, but a lot of people aren't talking about Donald Trump. Donald Trump was besties with fucking Epstein, or they used to be very close together. And then everyone makes a thing like, oh, fucking Trump kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. It's like, dude, that's fucking horse shit. Trump is neck deep with fucking Epstein, and he's trying to fucking cover it up. But yeah, this whole Epstein thing is just driving me up the wall. And I don't know, man. I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know what they're doing with this story, like why they've let it become like even like Fox News, because my parents watch Fox News. So when I'm eating dinner, you know, I see that they have it on. I'm just like, God damn it. And you know, even Fox News pushes Jeffrey Epstein conspiracy shit, and it's just like, wait, what? We know the CIA is writing the fucking script for their nightly news shit, and they're talking about this? Like, what the fuck? Where are they going with this? That's what I'm trying to figure out. It's driving me up the fucking wall. But yeah, man, that shit's crazy. And then there's just so much fucking going on in the world. And like I said, this first episode is going to be all over the place. Like my next one I'm going to do is going to be about my first official podcast, which will be episode 2. And I think I'm going to do that one on Gematria. That one is going to be all about Gematria. And if you don't know what that is, it's the ancient Kabbalistic code of coding numbers into letters. And if you go on CNN, Fox News, like any of these websites that pushes the mainstream propaganda, you can decode basically every single article with Gematria. So basically it's A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3, all the way to Z, the 26th letter, and there's 4 major ciphers. So that's like the English ordinal cipher. You know, A is 1, B is 2, very simple. And then there's like full reduction cipher, where it's the numerology. So say like I think J is the 10th letter. It would be 1 plus 0, so J would go back to 1. And, you know, so on and so forth. The 11th letter would be 1 plus 1, so it would have a gematria value of 2. That's the second cipher. That's a full reduction cipher. And then there's 2 more ciphers. But when you start breaking down things using this code, you see that if you type in baseball, here, I'll pull up, there's a thing called the Gematrinator. Just go to I think it's just gematrinator.com. Yeah, gematrinator.com, and type in baseball. And you'll see that in the English ordinal cipher, baseball equals 54. And how many outs are in a baseball game? How many total outs are in a baseball game? 54, 27 for each team. And baseball in the full reduction cipher that uses the numerology of the letters, the full reduction cipher, baseball equals 18. Like there's 18 total innings in a game. There's 9 half innings, or there's 18 total half innings in a baseball game. There's 9 innings total, but there's a half inning for each inning, so there's 18 half innings in a game. And then the reverse ordinal cipher, which is, Z is 1, and then A is 26, so go backwards. In the reverse ordinal, baseball equals 162. Like there's 162 games in a baseball season. In the regular season, I should say. And then in the reverse full reduction, which is, again, the numerology, but then reversed. So, Z would be 1, but then when you were counting backwards, the 10th would go back to 1 plus 0. So it's like the last one I was just explaining, and then you just do it with numerology again. So, and that baseball equals 54, like 54 total outs in a baseball game. So you can do this shit all over the place. And, I'll get into a lot more examples, but, a lot of times when, there's some kind of tragedy involving a black person on the news, you start looking at it, like what their name equals and how many days that they died, and from their birthday. And a lot of times when you look into these tragedies involving black people, you can find the two numbers 59 and 42 all over these stories. And what does 59 equal? 59 equals Negro, slave, blues, Rasta. And then 42 equals the N-word, and Jackie equals 42. Jackie Robinson wore the number 42. I don't have all this shit in my head, but if you go to the Gematrinator and you click on blogs and you go free to find truth, that is Zachary Hubbard, and he has a YouTube channel, Gematria Effect Sports, and what was his other one? I think it's just Zachary K. Hubbard. His shit's been deleted 20 times. His YouTube channels have been deleted 20 times, and he just keeps making new ones, and they just keep taking them down. And it's not hard to see why, because he's exposing this kind of knowledge. And I realize, to people who don't know what gematria is, this probably sounds absolutely asinine to you right now. Like, what the fuck is he talking about? And that was me, because I found him 3 years ago. I was like trying to look up like a preview for the Packers-Bears game, and I came across his work, and I was like, what is this? Numbers? Fucking, like, he's saying it's all scripted. I'm like, this is fucking retarded. And then so, I start listening to Tinfoil Hat, and then he's a guest on Tinfoil Hat, and it's like an hour-and-a-half podcast, and he's just dropping bombs. And I was like, oh my god, is this real? Like, all these numbers, like, all these things equal these numbers, and it's just like, oh my god. And so then I start researching, I start, watching more of his work, and it's like, all right, dude, let's say 10 times, you decode an article, like, that's fishy, that's maybe just a coincidence. And then, maybe 50 times, it's like, okay, what's going on here? And then it's like 50,000 times, like, dude, this guy has 50,000 articles, like, doing this. He does it every fucking day, multiple articles where he decodes, or like major news events, like Soleimani was just killed. He died on a perfect day to die, for him to die. And like I said, I don't know if he's actually dead or not, but the ritual that they carried out with his death was a perfect day for him to die. Like the amount of days from his birthday and the numerology of the day itself, and just everything aligned, the stars aligned. And it's like, that's a coincidence. And then you see it happen every other day of the year for as long as he's been doing it. Every major news story, everything can be broken down by this code. And it's unbelievable. And you're probably skeptical, and you should be. But it's crazy. Like I said, 10 times it's a coincidence. 50 times, 50,000 times, what can you say? It just keeps happening over and over and over again, and you don't have to take his word for it. There's multiple guys doing the gematria shit. And then you could do it yourself. You start learning, like 66 equals number of the beast, and you fucking see that Stanley Kubrick, his name sums to 66, and the fucking date that he died on, and the numerology fucking equals the gematria of his name, and all this other shit. And it over and over and over again, these celebrities, athletes, like, they die perfect days, and all of this shit, man, it just gets overwhelming, and you can't do anything but accept that it's fucking real. because I was skeptical ever since I heard that podcast. I've been skeptical. I still stay skeptical, but dude, I can't fucking deny it. It's 100% real, and like I said, it just keeps shaking out every fucking major news story. You pick up any old CNN article and like randomly, like my girlfriend and I were like watching one of Zach's YouTube videos, and I was like, I wonder if I could do this. So then I just randomly went on CNN and found like Farmer's Almanac predicts polar vortex, or I can't remember. Here, let me see if I can find it on CNN. CNN Farmer's Almanac. Polar coaster, and this is what they like to do. Expect a polar coaster and really cold temperatures this winter, the Farmer's Almanac says. Now, in polar coaster, it has quotes around it. So there's a quote before polar and a quote after coaster. So whenever they do that shit, whenever they put words in quotes, that they're highlighting that for you, like this is what we're encoding. And every time with like almost every article, you go to the fucking Gematrinator, you type in what's in the quotes, and it shakes out with whatever story that they're trying to tell. So then if you go to the Gematrinator and you type in polar coaster, you get, here, I'll do this in real time. Go to the Gematrinator and you type in polar coaster. All right, bear with me here. Polar coaster. Okay? And then you type in Farmer's Almanac. They both equal 53. Farmer's Almanac and Polar Coaster both equal 53. What are the fucking odds? And then you can say, oh, well, that's a coincidence. It's like, when that happens with like every single article on CNN, and when I did that in front of my girlfriend, she was like, oh my God. Because, she was like interested. She thought it was kind of, like, that's weird. And then I do it right in front of her. She's like, whoa, it's fucking real. And then like every day for a couple of weeks after that, she was sending me news articles, and like she took the words that were in quotes and then the main focus of the article and then did the gematria, and they had the same fucking gematria values. And it's just like time and time again. And so then she became a believer because she saw it done firsthand. So then anybody could do it. You just gotta like watch it for a little bit. Watch Zach do some decodes, and like some other guys like Chigozy Truth and Simple Truth Television. They all do like gematria decoding, and it's fucking unbelievable. You watch them for a little bit, and then you could start doing it on your own, and you just find all of this shit, and it's like, oh, it's 100% true without a shadow of a doubt. And like I said, I'm still skeptical. Or I try to be skeptical, but like every time I think like, well, what about this? And then it's like, no. Here's another fucking tragedy in the news that's completely decoded with gematria. I mean, 9/11, JFK, every fucking major conspiracy you can decode with gematria. It's unbelievable. And you probably think I'm an idiot, or it's crazy, or it's too simple. But just go to the Free to Find Truth blog on the Gematrinator and look at those articles. I mean, look at the article for Juice WRLD. I'll pull that one up right now. The Juice WRLD article is just fucking unbelievable. My guy Zach decoded the Juice WRLD death, and it's just the craziest. It's one of the craziest ones that I've seen, because it was just so perfect. And you also had that video where he said that he was selling his soul and that he was going to be rich as hell and like all this other shit. Well, here we go with like the 42 and 59 shit. So like I said, anytime there's a tragedy in the news that involves a black person, and here's the thing, man, like they make fun of us, they fucking like this. There was this one black guy that like supposedly like shot a cop or some shit like that. And his name was Andrew McGlockington. Like, dude, they fucking fabricate these news stories, and it's fucking horrific. You know, they make fun of people, and they play Andrew McGlockington was supposedly a black man that like shot a cop or some shit like that. It's like, oh my god. And they do this all the time. You know, they'll put in little jokes just to mock us. And it's like, oh, well, who are they? And it's like, the fucking... Well, Freemasons have a lot to fucking do with it. And Kabbalists, people who believe in Kabbalah, the Cabal... You know? And, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, you know, my dad's a Freemason, or my cousin, or my uncle, and, you know, they're not that bad. It's like, yeah, dude, and I work at FedEx. I don't know what the fucking president and the CEO are talking about. So, yeah, like, I get it. Like, your uncle that is a Freemason, you know, he probably, you know, wants... some community. He probably wants to like have a couple beers after work with his dogs. Like, okay. But you got to understand that these people who are like at the 33rd degree, and they'll put out blatant misinformation, like oh, I was a 33rd degree Freemason and all they did was give me a certificate and I was really disappointed. It's like, what, you were disappointed that you didn't get to do fucking child sacrifice, which that happens every day, and you can find it in Gematria. Dude, go to Simple Truth TV, and he does, like, celebrity deaths, and he decodes them with Gematria, and it's fucking, like, Freemason and blood sacrifice. Like, you type in blood sacrifice, and it equals the Gematria of their name, and you find out that a lot of these celebrities are changing their fucking names. Like, Juice WRLD, how come he took out the O from world? And then you find out that Juice WRLD equals 42. Oh, remember I said that? Anytime there's a black tragedy, fucking 42's all over it. And then you, like, so yesterday I was on Tidal, because I have Tidal, and you guys are probably like, oh my god, this fucking guy is a conspiracy theorist, and he's paying for Jay-Z's fucking music streaming platform, and it's like, I know, I get it. And, you know, when I got Tidal, I wasn't in this community, and all the rest of it, so, but now I have all my shit on there, and it's just so fucking inconvenient to leave, but I know I gotta do it. But I see, like, their main thing, like, their exclusive guy right now is Moneybagg Yo, the rapper. And then, so I look up Moneybagg Yo in the Gematrinator, and it equals 42. And it's like, Moneybagg spelled with 2 G's, and, like, why did they have to throw the yo at the end? It's like, oh, yeah, of course, because they made up his fucking name, and they wanted it to equal 42, so whenever they carry out whatever ritual that they're gonna do with him, it's gonna fucking all equal to 42 and 59. I fucking guarantee it. I mean, they're so repetitive with this shit. So, let me get into the Juice WRLD thing. And, like, when I do the Gematria episode, we're gonna go, like, super deep dive, and I'll try and leave without a shadow of a doubt, and hopefully one day I can have Zachary Hubbard on the podcast, and we can fucking just, you know, lay down a rock solid case about all this shit. So, Juice WRLD equals 42, the N-word equals 42, 21, like he died when he was 21, 21 spelled out equals 42, Jackie, like I said, Jackie Robinson equals 42, February, Black History Month, surprise, surprise, it's the only month that sums to 42, I wonder why it's Black History Month, and then he died on a date of 59 numerology, so he died on 12/8/2019. Well, if you add 12 plus 8 plus 20 plus 19, it equals 59. And then 59, Negro, Slave, Blues, Rasta, all equal 59. Oh, yeah, and then Juice WRLD, he put in this, Zach put in this tweet in the blog post. My goal is to get overly famous, shine for a couple years, then fake my death. So you can't make that shit up. And he tweeted it at 3:44 in the morning, and kill equals 44. So that's just interesting. And then his handle for his Twitter was Juice WRLD with an O and 3 D's. Well, that equals 128. Like he died on December 8th, 12/8, 128. Like the summation of his Twitter handle that's really fucking interesting. He also, his dad died. Well, yeah, this is fucking hilarious. What's the 27 club? We ain't making it past 21. I know that's been making the rounds and everybody has heard that shit. And it's just like, it's almost like he knew he was going to die at 21. And then April 25th is when his dad died. Yeah, I'm pretty sure April 25th is when his dad died. And that was 100% a ritual sacrifice for his career. And then, that is the 115th day of the year. So Masonic 115, Twitter 115, Killing 115. And then the numerology of that day, 42517, 42517 equals 46, like sacrifice equals 46, like lucid dreams equals 46, his biggest song. And then like he has the DDD at the end of his name, the 3 Ds for some reason. Well, D is the 4th letter, so 444, and the English Sumerian cipher. And some of these ciphers get super esoteric and shit, but they can help when trying to decode certain things. But in the English Sumerian cipher, rapper equals 444, killing equals 444, Masonic occult gematria, English all equal 444. But that's the big thing with 74. 74 equals English, 74 equals killing, 74 equals Jesus Christ. Jewish equals 74, occult equals 74. So Tupac was 21 when the film Juice was released, and Juice equals 21, like how Juice WRLD and World, WRLD, also equals 21. So how convenient, Juice equals 21, World equals 21, and then they both sum to 42. But, he died when he was 21, and each part of his name equals 21. Yeah, and he had a seizure at Midway Airport, and Chicago equals 46, and Midway Airport equals 73, Sacrifice equals 73 and 46, Gerard Higgins, his real name, equals 73, Higgins equals 73 and 46, like Sacrifice, like Midway Airport, like Chicago. And it's just like, you're like, oh my God. And it just keeps fucking happening. And from March 7th, so on March 7th, he took a picture with a rose in his mouth, or he posted the picture on his Instagram with a rose in his mouth and one of his eyes covered. And that's huge, like Illuminati symbolism, the one eye, and then the rose in the mouth, the secret society, the Rosicrucians, super occult fucking, super occult symbology right there. And then he put that picture up on March 7th, and he died 277 days and 277. What do you know? It's the 59th prime. Again, we get that 4259 connection. Perfect. Like, it's like, how people will be like, coincidence. It's like, okay, yeah, all of that is a coincidence. Rose equals 21, and again, Juice equals 21. He died 6 days after his birthday. If you add 1 through 6 together, it equals 21. Rosicrucian, Freemasonry equals 58. Rosicrucian equals 58. Secret Society equals 58. Death Race for Love, the name of his album, equals 158. Freemasonry equals 158. What else here? His last full day on Earth was December 7th, 2019, 274 days after the release of his album, Death Race for Love, equals 274. Like, he died 274 days after the release of his album. His death is being blamed on a seizure. 86. Seizure equals 86. Blood sacrifice equals 86. The seizure comes 27 weeks after his father's death. Ritual equals 27. Seizure equals 103 at the 27th prime. Oh, and also there was a TikTok lucid dream challenge where everybody, pretended like they had seizures while listening to the fucking lucid dream song. I mean, how fucking weird is that? What kind of dumbass do you have to be to upload a fucking video of yourself having a seizure to the Juice WRLD song Lucid Dreams? And so TikTok equals 86, and again, seizure equals 86. Lucid Dreams challenge equals 86. And then so the Illuminati eye, the eye of Providence equals 86, symbol equals 86, triangle equals 86, pyramid equals 86. Like on the back of the dollar, you see the fucking pyramid with the eye of Providence. And so pyramid 86. Gerard Anthony Higgins, his full name equals 96. Freemason equals 96 and 42. So it's like, dude, give me a fucking break that this shit isn't real. And if you found that at all compelling, all of that shit, fucking, he died 274 days after the release of his album, and Death Race for Love equals 274. I mean, come on. Like, I could go all day with this shit, and that's just one. There's 50,000 more. Of that exact fucking same thing. 50,000 more. So, I'll do a whole deep dive in the next episode. I'm going to, reach out to Zach. I've been reading his book. I'm going to read The Secret Teachings of All Ages by Manly P. Hall, who was a 33rd degree Freemason. He wrote a whole fucking book, Secret Teachings of All Ages, and he explains how they use this code and shit like that. And like the Freemason symbolism that they use and stuff like that, and these secret societies. And like, really, don't come at me if you know someone that's a Freemason. It's like, oh, they don't do that. It's like, dude, of course they don't fucking do that. I'm not fucking making stock decisions for FedEx. I just fucking deliver packages. Like the lower level guys, they have no fucking idea. It's these guys at the top running the show. I'm an American, but I don't know what the fuck Donald Trump's talking about to Donald Barr in the Oval Office. I have no fucking idea. So, yeah, man, we're gonna do a super deep dive on a bunch of shit. I'm not just like, I think gematria is very important, but I'm into a bunch of shit. I like any conspiracy under the sun, like, I find interesting, and I'll make an episode and talk about. And I have a ton of books that I'll be reading, so I'll do book reviews. I want to do commentary on podcasts that I've listened to. Those won't be podcast episodes. Those will be individual videos and shit like that. But yeah, I want to do that shit. I'll just, whatever the fuck I want to do. I'll just put it out there. If people want to watch it, then they want to watch it. If they don't, then they don't. And they can just wait for the podcast. What it is. So yeah, man, I'll be talking about a bunch of dope shit. And exposing the deep state. But yeah, I think that's all I really have to say. You guys have heard, maybe all 5 of the people that listen to this thought that it was something worth continuing to listen to. Like I said, this one's all over the place, and I'm really just thinking out loud and talking out loud, and I just wanted to get something out there, man. I just want to get this ball rolling. I'll get the fucking camera figured out. You guys can see my face. But yeah, I'm excited to see like what happens with this. Yeah, I think that's all I gotta say. So hopefully you guys like the intro and the outro. The outro is actually my buddy Biz80, BIZ80. So he's actually releasing his fucking album this Friday. If you guys want to check that out, if you think that the outro's interesting or sounds kind of cool, his music doesn't really, it's not like in the outro he's 666 at gematria, like he's like super loud and like going hard, but not all of his music's like that. So if it's like, I don't know about that, like check out, just like give his album a listen. He's got a lot of dope shit. And when I first met him and he was like, hey man, check out my music, I'm like, oh god, he's a fucking rapper. He's like a SoundCloud rapper. I'm like, give me a fucking break. I wanted nothing to do with him after that. I thought it was like, because I've known fucking rappers before, or like guys who are trying to rap from high school, and it's just like, give me a fucking break, dude. Like, these kids sound like shit. But listening to my boy Biz80, I mean, he fucking slaps. He definitely has a few songs, like a couple of my favorites, What These Bitches Want. It's an amazing song. It's so clever. I've never really heard anything like it. He's like listing bitches that he's had sex with, and it's just hilarious. And his other song, Only God Can Judge Me, is just like a slapperoni and a half. Two very good songs, but the whole rest of his album is super good too. So give that a listen on Friday. I was just talking to him yesterday. He said it should be out on all the major things, Tidal, Apple Music, SoundCloud, like whatever you got, he'll probably be on it. So give it a listen if you fuck with the outro at all. And hopefully you stick around and keep listening to more of this shit. Like I said, we'll do a deep dive organized podcast next, or like whenever I compile all of my notes and shit like that. We'll do a deep dive on gematria for like my first official episode. And I'll be making individual videos, and hopefully you check that shit out too. But as for now, I think that's all I gotta say, and I look forward to putting out some quality ass content. So that's all from me, for Ryan from Conspiratorial Conspiring, and I'll talk to you guys next time.
All seeing now, they got their eyes on ya. That 666 gematria. With the queens, with the kids on genitalia. Yeah, they filming and they stalking, know they watching ya. Know they